Hey guys, welcome to another episode of TOA's podcast Sound Supply. My name is Eric, product specialist here at TOA. Good to be here. Weather is cooling down. Business is slowly going up. Times are evolving once again. New information is upon us. And today we're going to be talking about higher education and where that's going, where we're at with it in terms of AV, and what are the trends, and let's see where we're moving with that. So once again, guys, welcome. Let's begin with some basic announcements regarding our Sound Supply podcast and our marketing and our social media campaigns and everything going on that we're currently working on with behind the scenes. So every week, as you guys know, we are releasing a podcast, Sound Supply. I will be hosting. We're kind of mixing it up going down the road as well in the future. We have, we did a couple on-site interviews at, we were just at a local church that did a large AV install regarding our Lanubios. So good information coming your way that way in terms of how the Lanubio has evolved into, this conferencing solution into really a multi-tool, and how people are using it out there in the marketplace and the world. So some good information coming your way. We're going to continue visiting sites if we possibly can. We're going to be bringing in people from all around the country in regards to audio and video and integration and how things are changing and different ways on how we're using or how they're using the gear out there, in the marketplace. And it's interesting how, somebody buys something for a specific need, but then it turns into this need or this use that they never would have thought of, which is great. And that's the flexibility we have in with audio and video, is we're able to, especially with our products with TOA, you're able to use our products in a multitude of ways. And, if you guys ever get stuck out there and you think that we have a product that could work in a solution or a scenario that you're not aware of, give us a call tech support, call one of us. We'll be able to definitely chime in there. If you have something employed or deployed on site and you think that it might work in a way that you're not really sure of, reach out to us. We'll help you out. And we'll make it happen. Absolutely. All right. So as we know, school has started. We're kicking into full gear here. Excuse me. Depending on where you're at in the world or in the country, it's different, right? So we're in New Jersey here. I know in my town or my locality, it's all from home. It's all remote. There's some schools doing a hybrid type method. Private institutions have their own sets and standards. Like, for example, the high school that I went to is meeting in school, but they're distancing 6 feet apart in the classroom, and they're taking other measures and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, I haven't been to these locations. I am just listening in every day on news, especially in my locality. It would be interesting to hear from you guys, perhaps, and just to gauge, if you guys are in the educational field, especially higher education, like high schools, collegiate colleges, universities, things like that, where AV was typically used, but now is being used on higher levels, especially across campuses, campus institutions where everything's spread apart. And now it is, obviously, because we're all remote. But yeah, I mean, leave some comments, suggestions. I'd love to hear from you guys and, kind of gauge where your localities are at on an education standpoint and maybe how you're using AV equipment in different ways that you've never thought of prior to this whole thing. Leading into that, there has been, many changes in the ways that higher education is doing or is providing AV needs. So examples are, like I said, virtual and physical. So some schools are doing this hybrid type method where couple days a week. It could be in person, it could be virtual. Uh, they're coming in after hours and doing small meetings. There's so many different things at play here. And from our last podcast where we were on site at a location and our customer was using the Lanubio, and it was a multi-campus type facility. It was a religious facility or house of worship, but it was multi-campus, and he was using the Lanubio to communicate between teams at different locations. So he would have these small huddle rooms in regards to the regulations. So keeping the amount of people obviously limited, as well as the spacing needs. And he's using the Lanubio as a conferencing solution to communicate back and forth with his teams. And it's just a great way of doing that. Before that, it was used in a different way, but now it's being used on this broader type spectrum where there's clear communication over large distances, and it's as natural as it could possibly be. Another thing that keeps coming up in higher ed and even houses of worship or especially education, where the person using this gear doesn't have the experience or the AV knowledge of the installer or the manufacturer. So the way these units are designed to be end user friendly is the direction that I'm going in. So not only is it easy for the integrator to come in and drop the unit in, especially with conferencing type solutions, and I believe many manufacturers are going that route. That's the route we took, and it's been working out very well. The integrator comes in, it saves time, they drop it in, boom, they're ready to go. And now the end user, literally all they have to do is come in and power the unit on. And that's been a call we've been getting a lot recently, is how easy it is for the end user to come in and just essentially do nothing. Just turn it on and they're good to go. It's that simple. So we want to make sure we're using products that are not only easy for the integration side of things. This saves time, this saves money, requires less people on site. There's many benefits for the integrator, but also the end user. So the teachers, the principals, the administrators, the people that are using this gear, it's just straightforward and simple. So the integrator comes in, they set it up, they program it the way they want. And with our Lanubio products or AM1 products, there's only a few adjustments that have to be made. Done. The end user comes in, powers it on. With a Lanubio, all there is volume and mute on the front panel. There's no logging in. There's no programming. There's no, they open up Zoom, they open up Teams, they open up WebEx. Boom, they're good to go. The unit does its magic. So another thing that keeps coming up is scalability. So can you build on, one Lanubio or one AM1 or what's currently employed or deployed? And with audio, especially in audio, there's always ways to add on or scale up, or the concern always comes up. Well, if we expand or if maybe we decrease in size, maybe we make things smaller. What can we do? How easy is it to get from step one or plan A to plan B in terms of scalability? So we want to make sure that not only is it scalable, but it's all, I don't want to use the word future proof, but we want to make sure this technology is adaptable. So when it comes to digital technology, firmware updates, firmware upgrades, where the product can get better over time from just a simple dump of firmware or software. No hardware replacements or upgrades required. It's just software, boom, updated, push it out, you're good to go. And that's been a huge benefit in audio and technology, is the adaptation of firmware updates to be able to just gain so many additional benefits and features without having to upgrade the product or replace the product or send your product in for a hardware update or vice versa. So all of our digital units are fully updatable. We're always working on it. If our unit is capable of a software fix or upgrade or a new solution or a new feature, and we get enough positive feedback from the community, we push it out, we get it to our engineers, and we get it into production. And our users are able to access that. So definitely when you guys are out there, make sure you're using products that are scalable, that are upgradable, that don't require hardware upgrades or swaps or this and that. So stick to the digital forefront, and you guys should be okay there. Definitely. All right. So we also want to make sure that we are following industry standards. So there are standardizations in higher ed, and there are many of them in terms of what different schools are using or administrators are using. I think this more pertains to the software side of things and the programs that are being used in these facilities. So you want to keep those in mind. So is the hardware that you're deploying compatible with the software that's being used at hand? And most of it is. Ours is. You want to keep that in mind when you're deploying this stuff. You don't want to go in there and say, oh, it's not going to work with what they have installed. So when I say industry standards, it's probably going to be something that they have implemented on site. So what they're currently using. So software needs to be able to talk to the hardware and vice versa. So definitely keep that in mind. As I mentioned earlier, the ease of use for the end user definitely plays a key role here. So you want to keep in mind about everybody that's going to be in touch with this product or these products. So from obviously the IT guys that are on site, administration, teachers, principals, students, it goes on and on and on. There's so many different people with different skill sets that are going to be utilizing this gear. So as an installer, you want to be able to get it in there, give them a quick overview of how to use it, and then leave, but always be willing to be able to follow up. But you don't want to go into retraining and these more in detailed depths of use down the road, because that's going to cost a lot of time. So we want to make sure once you leave the site, once you guys get it employed or deployed, make sure that they're left with what they need to be able to operate this without calling you guys, down the road. Obviously, you're always there for support. Of course, we're always here. But just that flow of use from you dropping it in to the end user using it, you want to keep that flow as smooth as possibly as time goes on. You want to be aware of the facility's requirements. So the facility manager, the person that's in charge of either the AV department, the IT department, it could be a grounds. There's many, when we're talking higher education, especially multi-level facilities, multi-campuses, it's a huge organization. It's monstrous. And we want to make sure everybody's on board. So make sure that the requirements are always met. So they're going to have a list of requirements. Make sure you're fulfilling those. We don't want anything coming back, your way after the installation. And just make sure everybody's on the same page. So again, going back to a couple podcasts ago, we talked about communication and keeping everybody. This was with Andy a couple weeks back. Make sure everybody's on the same page. Make sure communication is smooth, operation is smooth. Just make sure we're communicating with our customer as well as your team. Everybody's tight. The installation goes well, and you're there to follow up when need be. So please keep that in mind. Operations and maintenance. This is post drop or post installation. Looking into the future. Remote maintenance, or the less we have to go to a site to maintain a product, the better. If we can maintain a product remotely, and be able to do everything from another location over IP, over the net, without traveling, especially during the today's times with COVID and all this craziness. It's just huge. And software is getting there. And we already have the gateway to get from, point A to point B. So remote maintenance, especially here at TOA, we're going in that direction. We want to be able to do as much as we can, or have you guys do as much as you can remotely as it is to be there physically. And yes, there's going to be times where physically you have to be on site and get that going. But remote maintenance going down the road is going to be huge. So just keep that in the back of your minds. We are going in that direction. We're very excited to bring you guys products that are going to be capable of that. And some of them are already deployed. They're going to have updates down the road, and you're going to be able to get in there and do a lot of things that in the past would require a visit. So it's very exciting going down the road. So yeah, I mean, if you guys can think of anything else in regards to higher ed or these large multi-campus institutions that are, moving in different directions, if you guys have products like the Lenubio deployed, maybe something like the M9000, which is an all digital DSP matrix style mixer, an MA725, any of these newer products that are digital, that have more advanced routing techniques or more advanced programming techniques, and you have large installations with AM1s or Lenubios, things that if you guys can think of any schools out there that may need a need, and my suggestion to you is follow up with these schools. I'm sure they're in need of something, whether it be a solution for something that's already deployed on campus, or it could be a new sale. It could be a new product. It could be something else that they need. So make sure you're keeping in constant communications with these higher education facilities, and there's always something to learn. There's going to be needs out there. There's going to be needs for better gear, higher quality audio, especially audio. We know that there were a lot of video devices out there that were readily accessible for end users, but have since gone away. But audio is something that a lot of these schools, these institutions are just not, they're not on board with. So we want to make sure they are, definitely on board, and they definitely are aware of what's out there. All right, guys, thanks for listening. Again, it's always good to be here. We have a podcast every single week. We're gonna stay on topic. We're gonna be mentioning gear that could be useful to you guys. If you guys are out there, you're struggling, if gear's deployed, if TOA gear is deployed, please give us a call. We would love to give you guys ideas. We have free design services that we're utilizing every day. If you have a current design, or if you're working on a design, utilize those services. It's free design at toaelectronics.com. Very, very, very handy. We have a great team over here. We are working on a brand new webinar coming up later this month. Announcement coming soon, very soon, actually. I don't have any details on that yet, but we are working on one with a couple guys around the country, some internal, some external, on some interesting stuff. So please stay tuned. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Once again, we really appreciate it. Hopefully everybody's staying safe out there and staying well. Again, if you guys have any questions, comments, reach out to us. Leave some comments below in the description. Every week, Sound Supply podcast coming your way, and a webinar coming towards the end of the month. So thanks, guys. Stay tuned for more from TOA. Again, my name's Eric, product specialist. Take care.